Hello, my name is Chelsea, and this is my week 3 assignment. For chapter 3, it went into programs and policies, leaving off of the first discussion or reflection that we did. It brushed or spoke a little bit about the No Child Left Behind, and I expressed previously how I felt about that. Now, in this chapter in particular, it mentioned different programs and different policies and acts, such as the Common Core standards and the Every Student Succeeds. It gave brief information, and I guess the benefits and the negatives to how that affected bilingual students. Now, from this chapter, um, one thing that I kind of honed in on or focused more on was the section that was talking about the No Child Left Behind Act. Now, the act essentially was put together to help push certain schools to push struggling students in a sense. Um, they were able to provide attention, or they were supposed to be providing attention and support, and that it didn't matter the student's race or the socioeconomic status, that they would be able to succeed no matter what. But with the No Child Left Behind Act, it did just that. Schools were focused on trying to reach numbers that it was hurting the students in the long run. Yes, the benefit of it was funds were given to the school that, in certain schools were able to distribute to help with programs or even help with hiring other educators to help continue to raise these test scores and the overall scores of the schools. But this act was setting unrealistic goals, and it was making testing even harder, and low poverty schools were being targeted. Because think about it, how do you strive at your best if you already are low? How do you hone in on reaching high test scores if, to begin with, the schools that are low poverty don't have the funds to provide certain materials or programs for that? So when it came to that, it made it nearly impossible. um and then you have things like the Common Core state standards, that it did reinforce the learning of grammar and vocabulary, but because it was only enforcing it in English, the bilingual students, it was hard for them. It was already hard enough, and now you have something else, or another obstacle that I would think of it, another obstacle where it, because English is not their first language, to reinforce something is to have previous knowledge. And that is not the case. So then, yet again, students of such as bilingual students were being set to, I don't want to say fail, but if I had to use um my own opinion on it, I would say it was set to fail. And eventually that was made aware it was made aware of. It was noticing that this isn't working. So that's when they decided that the act had to go. But the solution at the moment, I guess, was lowering the standards so that the students would appear more proficient, so that it would make it seem as if the school was doing excellent. But then schools that are once again low poverty, once they did not reach that high standard that was set, they're now labeled a failing school, and they're now being given more pressure, having to do more tests and taking away subjects such as history or the arts, as which the book mentioned. And leaving behind the No Child Left Behind Act came the Every Student Succeed Act. And that came into play, um in a sense of it was loosening the rings of what the previous act was trying to do. It created flexibility, but it still allowed the students to have the opportunity to succeed, even the ones that were learning English. So as far as this overall chapter goes, it did go it did focus on providing um help or resources. I did I focus more on the No Child Left Behind Act, but that is my reflection. Once again, mine is a little lengthy, but thanks for listening.